What's that?
What's what?
Oh, never mind. It was nothing.
You better get that tooth fixed.
Saturday mornings in the 1960s meant the zany world of Looney Tunes took over living rooms across America. But behind those slapstick chases and wild sound effects, there were secrets and oddities fans rarely spotted. Get ready for a trip down memory lane as we count down 15 of the strangest facts hidden in the Looney Tunes of the swinging 60s. Number 1. Looney Tunes' secret split identity. Let's go back to Saturday mornings in the 1960s. As breakfast cereal clinked into bowls, you might have tuned in to watch Bugs Bunny outsmart another foe, sometimes under the Looney Tunes banner, other times as Merry Melodies. What most kids didn't realize then was that it wasn't just creative whimsy separating those titles. Warner Brothers split the famous cartoon lineup into two brands to give TV stations the illusion of twice as many shows, boosting their syndication revenue. Studios reused old animation, recycled storylines, and even tweaked musical cues, all while switching intros now and then. But eagle-eared viewers picked up on the slight shift. Maybe the brisker tempo under Looney Tunes, or a familiar scene popping up with a new twist in Merry Melodies. This smart studio trickery fueled a cartoon empire, letting generations fall in love with Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, and the zany choreography that danced between two titles. The legacy lingered, and so did the tunes stuck in your head. Onward now to the next cartoon secret. Number 2. Uncredited female animators. Inside the buzzing animation studios behind Looney Tunes, there was a hidden layer of talent few realized at the time. Beyond Bugs and Daffy's antics, meticulous background art and slick layouts were sometimes handled by female artists, many working quietly and uncredited behind the scenes in the 1960s. With the industry reeling from labor shortages and deadlines looming, these women stepped in, blending their talents into the animated mayhem. Studios like Warner Brothers were often credited to famous names like Chuck Jones, yet historians such as Jerry Beck have traced certain background flourishes and color palettes back to anonymous female hands. It wasn't until decades later, as restored prints from the era revealed signature brushwork and hues, that these artists' subtle fingerprints got noticed. Their influence, soft gradients behind wild chase scenes, an inventive sense for mood, still whispers in every cleaned-up frame. Sometimes the real magic lives just beyond the credits roll, shaping how we remember Saturday mornings, one cell at a time. Number 3. Daffy Duck's personality flip-flop. It's impossible to forget the moment Daffy Duck shifted from pure chaos to a scheming, desperate underdog. In the late 1960s, the Looney Tunes creators doubled down on Daffy's grouchy, self-centered side, a sharp contrast to the manic, unpredictable Duck fans loved in earlier shorts. Suddenly, the crazy giggle and careening energy of the 1940s gave way to a Daffy forever chasing fame, fortune, and always winding up second to Bugs. Writers like John Dunn and directors such as Robert McKimson fueled this transformation, making Daffy the eternal sitcom loser for a new TV era. Episodes like The Great Carrot Train Robbery in 1969 capture that blend of slapstick mishap and sitcom edge. Some longtime viewers, though, longed for the wild screwball antics that defined Daffy's golden days. The old zaniness faded, replaced by an exasperated, "that's despicable" charm, cementing his legacy, but always sparking the question, which Daffy truly quacked us up? Onward, the gags only got stranger. Number 4. The Lost Looney Tunes commercial. A whiff of cocoa and a blast of Technicolor. That was the promise behind Choco Wham cereal, a treat immortalized in one of Looney Tunes' strangest lost gems. In 1967, a rare commercial aired in just a handful of U.S. cities, with Daffy Duck and Elmer Fudd pitching this now-vanished breakfast. The ad blended slapstick hijinks with real cereal shilling, folding a fictional brand into the cartoon world. For years, collectors spoke about the spot in almost hushed tones, chasing rumors and scanning archive TV reels. Choco Wham cereal itself disappeared by the early 1970s, as so many sugar-laden breakfast dreams did. But the commercial lived on only in fading memories, until the 2000s, when a fan unearthed a homemade recording and uploaded it online. Suddenly, fans everywhere could hear Daffy's gleeful plug and spot the goofy, chocolatey splatters. It's a window into both a marketing oddity and cartoon lore, proof of how commerce and comedy have always shared a stage. Next, we'll meet another mystery hiding in plain sight. Number 5. The wild Tweety Pie gender rumor. You're at the lunch table with a bright pink Tweety lunchbox. Someone points and asks, "Is Tweety a boy or a girl?" Suddenly, nobody is sure. The confusion traces back to the 1960s, when official Looney Tunes studio memos and the earliest toy packaging couldn't agree either. In some Warner Brothers memos, Tweety Pie was listed as he. On a batch of mid-60s beanbags and coloring books, you'd spot she instead. Each new product launch, be it a talking plush or a cereal box prize, brought its own twist, thanks to artists and marketers following no set rules. Fan clubs and schoolyards picked sides, citing old episodes or favorite comic strips. Even the voice, by Blanc, was gender-neutral enough to keep the argument alive. Over time, this little yellow bird did more than dodge Sylvester. It sparked a multi-generational debate that kept fans squawking for decades. Next up, let's explore how another pop icon left its own mysterious mark on our collective memory. Let's pause for a second. Did you ever argue with your friends about whether Tweety was a boy or a girl? Or maybe you had a favorite Looney Tunes character? Share your memories, or your best playground. Debates in the comments below. Number 6. Roadrunner's Latin name Easter eggs. There's a little secret baked into those classic Roadrunner cartoons that even your old science teacher might have overlooked. In the early 1960s, as soon as the Technicolor desert faded in, the show flashed up faux Latin species names for both Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. These names, like Accelerati Incredibilis for Roadrunner and Carnivorus vulgaris for his desperate pursuer, were clever punchlines masquerading as scientific facts. Writers, keen to make layered jokes, satirized the stuffy world of Latin nomenclature and the growing focus on science classrooms. The beauty of these running gags, they worked for everyone. Kids giggled and repeated the silly names, but adults smirked at the sly poke at textbook seriousness. The first cartoon to roll out this tradition was Wild About Hurry in 1959, but it really caught on through the following decade, setting an irreverent tone each time. Like a wink to the audience, those species names remind us that even after the ACME smoke clears, there's always room for a little mischief. Next up, let's see what other surprises Looney Tunes had tucked away behind the slapstick. Number 7. Sylvester's forgotten feline rival. Picture the whirl of Technicolor chaos, and there, in 2 early 1960s Looney Tunes shorts, prowled a cat almost no one remembers. Sylvia, the fluffy white rival crafted as Sylvester's feline foil. The brainchild of a young staff writer eager to shake up Sylvester's routines, Sylvia appeared in neat, prim contrast to her blustery black and white adversary. Her introduction was supposed to add sass and novelty, yet by 1965 she had quietly vanished from the credits without so much as a farewell chase. The audience simply didn't bite. Even the sharpest-eyed Saturday morning superfans barely recall her shadow. 2 episodes, one in 1962, another the following spring, feature Sylvia sparring over fish bones and spotlight with Sylvester, hinting at a rivalry that never found its claws. Today, you have to comb the deepest cartoon archives or memory banks to spot her once bright fur. It's a reminder that in the ever-spinning toon world, not every character steals the show, or our hearts. And just like that, the wheel of cartoon fate spins us on. Number 8. The creepy censorship of Coyote. Picture your younger self, eyes glued to the screen as Wile E. Coyote chases the Roadrunner across dizzying cliffs and desert landscapes. But if you re-watch those cunning schemes on television, you might sense something is off. In the 1960s, strict broadcast standards gave Looney Tunes a makeover. TV executives, uneasy about cartoon violence, started snipping scenes of dynamite mishaps and those iconic bone-rattling falls. Entire gags were swapped out for tamer jokes, or removed altogether, especially in the classic Chuck Jones shorts. Some edits were subtle, like a missing explosion, while others left abrupt cuts in the action. Syndication packages quietly rolled out these censored versions on local networks, from CBS to Saturday morning reruns, and most kids never noticed. But older fans who grew up watching theatrical prints in the 1950s spotted the missing mayhem. Suddenly, what was once wild and subversive had a safety net no one could see. That innocent desert now felt a little less dangerous. The next time you catch a rerun, listen for the silence that once thundered. There's a Vanishing act playing just behind the laughter. Number 9. Blanc's car accident and recovery. Picture this. In 1961, Blanc, the voice behind Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and nearly every other Looney Tunes rascal, was nearly silenced forever. After a devastating car accident left him in critical condition, Hollywood studios found themselves in crisis mode. Blanc was so integral to the series that Warner Brothers crews literally set up microphones at his hospital bedside, recording lines while he recovered just to keep those Saturday morning cartoons rolling. It was more than just dedication, it was a testament to his irreplaceable talent. Each "What's up, Doc?" or sputtered lisp from Daffy carried the weight of a production team rallying around their superstar. Most viewers never realized how close they came to a world without their favorite wisecracking rabbit and duck. When Mel returned to the booth full-time, it wasn't just a win for animation. It was a little miracle that colored a generation's childhoods with laughter and imagination. As we leave this story behind, the mic crackles with possibility for the next remarkable chapter. Number 10. Marvin the Martian's Vanishing Act. A plume of cosmic dust, and then, poof. Marvin the Martian faded from Looney Tunes in the mid-60s. His green helmet and quiet, calculated menace had been a weirdly magnetic presence after his debut in 1948. But by 1963, the swirling priorities at Warner Brothers left the Martian in limbo. The winds of television economics were shifting, budgets tightened, writers moved on, and the Looney Tunes lineup got far more terrestrial. Characters like Bugs, Daffy, and Porky hogged the spotlight, leaving Marvin's space-age schemes to gather dust. For decades, reruns and Saturday morning specials were almost devoid of his trademark disintegration ray and cool monotone threats. Not until the 1980s, when nostalgia for the golden age of animation swelled, did Marvin reclaim his spot with a new generation. In that long absence, fans nursed a quiet longing for the interplanetary tension only Marvin could conjure, proving some villains are too weird, too wonderful to stay lost forever. And as we rocket past Marvin's Vanishing Act, let's peer behind the curtain at another forgotten corner of animated history. Number 11. Secret Looney Tunes-Beatles connection. There's a secret swirling right behind the slapstick, one that only eagle-eyed fans ever spotted. In 1965, during the heart of Beatlemania, animator Robert McKimson added sly Beatles references all across Looney Tunes episodes. Suddenly, Tweety Bird's feathered neighbors showed off unmistakable mop-top hairstyles, and backgrounds winked with playful signs like "yeah, yeah, yeah." Warner Brothers was eager to tap into what was hip for the youth of the time, as the Beatles ruled not just the airwaves, but fashion, slang, and dreams. These visual gags let the cartoons blend timeless gags with flash-in-the-pan cool. Many adults missed the nods, but to any kid in the know, seeing the Fab Four hidden inside these wild worlds felt electric, as if Looney Tunes itself had gotten the rock and roll bug. Today, rewinding those tapes, you almost expect to hear a cartoon harmonica or a sudden chorus of "She Loves You" as Bugs and friends keep pace with the times. Who knows what else you've missed if you're not looking closely. Number 12. Porky Pig's stutter nearly cut. Picture the unmistakable voice of Porky Pig, the lovable, stuttering sidekick who always closes the show with a jumbled tagline. But in the mid-1960s, something strange happened. New studio bosses, anxious about keeping television sponsors happy, decided Porky's stutter might sound improper or distracting in the living rooms of suburban America. Suddenly, in a string of Looney Tunes shorts airing during this era, fans heard a noticeably milder Porky. His signature stammer dulled, lines polished for smoother delivery, jokes dialed back. While producers hoped this tidier version would charm advertisers, sharp-eared viewers missed the comedy in Porky's vulnerable, endearing delivery. The effort to sand away rough edges for the sake of TV-era respectability left a gap where laughter used to ring. For those who grew up with the original, it was a subtle but powerful shift, one that proved sometimes what makes a cartoon character genuinely memorable cannot be edited away. We may never watch those middle years the same way again, but the lesson lingers as we follow the next Looney Tunes twist. Number 13. Bugs Bunny's cameo in a live-action film. The warm California sun, crashing surf, and suddenly, did you catch that? In the 1964 Beach Romp Muscle Beach Party, Bugs Bunny himself makes a blink, and you'll miss it appearance, darting across the big screen for just a few frames. Unlike the full-throttle mashups of later decades, this cameo was a subtle experiment. The studio wanted to see if their wisecracking rabbit could slide seamlessly into the splashy live-action world outside his usual animated haunts. Most fans at the time never noticed, chalking it up to another in-joke from the Hollywood machine. Yet there he was, well before Space Jam made crossovers mainstream, a Warner Brothers legend hanging out beside Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello on the sands of Malibu. It's a footnote in movie history, a tiny wink that challenged the limits of cartoon stardom. Blink, and he's gone. But once you spot Bugs on that beach, you'll never see summer movies the same way again. And there's more mischief where that came from, just around the corner. Number 14. Witch Hazel's accent overhaul. Few cartoon characters pull off a good cackle quite like Witch Hazel from Looney Tunes. For years, her zany, cackling voice belonged to be Banatarid, familiar, raspy, pure mischief laced with American twang. But in the early 1960s, fans were in for a shock. With the studio in flux, June Foray stepped behind the microphone and delivered something new. Witch Hazel took on a distinctive British flair. Foray, beloved for her wild range, couldn't resist tinkering with the sound, giving Hazel a prim edge that made her bubble, toil and trouble jokes land differently. The change was more than a new voice. It was a personality upgrade that made longtime viewers raise an eyebrow. Gone was the witch you thought you knew. Looney Tunes fans who tuned in during 1963 felt that jolt, recognizing their favorite trickster was suddenly just a little more posh. Sometimes childhood icons change right under your nose, and you're left chasing the memory of a laugh that somehow sounds just a bit different. The next time you hear a cartoon witch cackle, you might catch that British wink. Number 15. The Blue Ribbon Reissue Switcheroo. You might remember the zany antics of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, but there's something odd hidden in their history. In the 1960s, Warner Brothers launched the Blue Ribbon Reissue program, sweeping through the classic Looney Tunes library and swapping out original title cards and credits. Suddenly, the bold, colorful openings you grew up with were replaced by generic blue ribbons, and the names of voice actors like Mel Blanc and artists such as Chuck Jones vanished from the screen. It was a savvy cost-cutting maneuver, breathing fresh life into decades-old shorts for a new generation watching on television. Yet it also quietly erased the markers of animation history, leaving fans and collectors in the dark for years. Only by comparing rare, unrestored prints did dedicated viewers discover the missing names and skipped chapters of cartoon legacy. It's proof that sometimes the wildest Looney Tunes mystery happens before the show even begins.